News Talk 640 WFNC. Hey, Greek, you saw me hit the post on a thing? I said, boom, 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 and he started singing.
Right on it.
Yeah, that's what we do. Hey, we've got Billy West in here. Yeah, I called you Billy King. I've called you Craig West. I mean, there's a lot of a lot of room for error here.
There's some West and some Billies, and there's several of us out there. I'll answer to whatever, Gilbert.
Well, Greg West built my house, and you've been the district attorney how long now?
15 or 16 years as the district attorney, and I was an assistant for 10 years. So I've been at this more than 25 years, pretty much my whole legal career and my whole adult life. So I've been prosecuting here in Cumberland County.
Well, I'm glad that you're here, and you and I shared some medical information yesterday. I don't know if you want to share that. I shared mine just because anytime we have this event, this medical event, and people that are prominent in the community share it, it really, I think, encourages other folks to say, maybe I need to do this. Do you want to share yours?
Sure, absolutely. I'm over 50 now. I'll be 52 next week, and I had my first colonoscopy yesterday, and the screening and an endoscopy as well. So, it was not nearly as bad as I anticipated, and I would just encourage anyone to do it. I'd put it off just like everybody else. I think they recommended it 45 now. It was 50 for many, many years, and either way, I was due, and so got a good report and happy about that. But I would certainly recommend it to anyone because doing a little reading before and after, you can prevent what can be catastrophic consequences of not doing screenings like that.
Yeah, well, and the neat thing about it, I'll be 71 in 2 weeks, and I've had several of them. And if they detect polyps, they're able to pull them out right then and do an analysis to see if they're cancerous or not malignant, and they can kind of resolve issues real early. And so that's why I'm glad to hear that you've done that. I shared with the Greek. Greek, you've had one?
Oh, yeah. And they say it is one of the easiest cancers to catch and cure if you get it early. And that's the key to the colonoscopy.
Well, I got all three of us on the screen. We're going to talk with Billy West about courthouse security in a second. I just want to share this one thing. I told Greek yesterday, I had this herbarium type screening, and it was the most archaic thing that I've ever been in. You have to drink this stuff and get it in your intestines, and then they strap you to a table and they spin you around. I felt like if the aliens were looking down at me, they would say, they're still doing that? So the colonoscopy is nowhere anything like that. You had to drink the drink and walk the walk and talk the talk?
That's right. And my mother and father, who've done it several times, told me that it's easier than it used to be, and it was manageable. And glad to have it behind me. And I would recommend that anybody who hasn't done that, and it's above the age that it's recommended for them to get that done. Just like the Greek said, you can prevent life-changing health circumstances.
Well, it's a good thing we have Greg Fishel off the line now, because you said you had it behind you. And he would have taken that and run.
Greg is great with the joke of the day, or as they're commonly called, dad jokes, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. He seems to have those, so I'm sure he could have found one out of that comment for sure.
Play golf with him sometimes, and you will come back a changed man. Okay. Well, look, Billy, I asked you to come in here because we recently did a story on courthouse security. I had Judge King in here and Judge Hood. Every judge that comes in here talks about the concern, and the county commissioners have taken some actions in order to try to strengthen courthouse security. You want to give us some details of what they've said?
Sure. I first want to commend our county commissioners as well as our sheriff's office for being proactive on this. There has been some incidents in other counties, and fortunately, none of those has ended, or at least in recent times, in deaths or anything like that. But Wilson County had a scary situation where some officers were injured by gunfire, and Wake County had a situation where some attorneys were injured as well by gunfire. Both of those have happened in the last couple of months. Fortunately, we have not had anything like that in Cumberland. But we've been really talking about this issue. It's been more on the forefront the last couple of months. We've been talking about it 2 or 3 years with Judge King and Judge Ammons, with the sheriff, with the county commissioners, about proactively dealing with this situation, because, the sheriff only has a finite number of deputies. He's got to cover the jail, civil process, patrol, the schools, all sort of things, and so that was leaving less folks for courthouse and courtroom security, which are sort of two separate things. And the county has decided to contract with a private security company to handle the entrances of the courthouse, while the deputies will still transport inmates, handle security within the courtroom, within the hallways of the courthouse, that sort of thing. Many larger counties, Wake, Forsyth, Guilford, have handled their security that way, and it's been successful. So I commend the commissioners, the sheriff, for working on this.
You know, the thing about it is detecting weapons is getting even more difficult just because of the printers that can print up weapons that are non-metallic. It's just a scary situation in terms of what can slip in, and so you need all eyes on deck in order for the initial screening. I'm sure you probably remember the days where the courthouse was open. You could walk into the Cumberland County Courthouse, go up to any courtroom, go in and sit down and start listen to what's going on. The issue, and you will verify this, and you and I've done several stories. This is where people settle scores. And so I don't care if it's a civil case or if it's a domestic violence or whatever it might be, or someone was murdered and the relative of the victim is in the courtroom. It can lead to a very dangerous situation.
It can. I mean, our courts are open constitutionally as they should be, but there has to be security. So anyone can still come down if they want to view a trial or a particular case, whatever the case may be. However, there is screening, as many people know that have been to courthouse for various types of business they need to conduct. But there's a airport-like screening there for the most part, where they're trying to detect any weapons and that sort of thing. And another part of security that's not talked about quite as much is there's also a no cell phone policy in the courtrooms. You can't do any pictures, any video. You can't be using it and that sort of thing if you're in the audience. And somebody may ask, well, why does that make any difference? It's open, it's public. Why can't you record what's happening? Well, we've had situations, there's been many other situations across the state and country where a witness is testifying in a sensitive matter, and, there may be some bad blood between folks and, their video and their testimony, and then that's used to try to harm them, intimidate them, whatever the case may be. Or there's some things that are sensitive in nature or deal with children or whatever that just don't need to be recorded. So the cell phone policy is also an important part of our security down there as well.
I did a story earlier this week on a judge up in Wake County who had a weapon, and the red laser beam from it was on one of the clerks in the court. And so it was this debate about what is the judge doing with a gun. I looked up the statute, and judges are allowed. Talk about that to carry weapons.
Yeah. There is a special provision which allows them to carry weapons on their person. You have to follow certain protocols that you have to go through to be in a position to do that. But the law does allow them to do that more so than the general public, of course, being able to do that in the courtroom.
The interesting thing, about that, you would say, well, why does the judge need a weapon? You just go on the internet and you can see some of the things that happen in courtrooms where things seem to be calm, and all of a sudden all heck breaks loose. Have you experienced that in certain cases?
I have seen that. We are dealing with emotional issues in the courts, whether it be someone's liberty at stake, in a criminal case, or a family member who has lost someone to a homicide or something like that, or domestic cases where you're talking about custody of children and life-changing issues like that. And I have seen it where someone has become agitated, and either decided to, make an aggressive movement towards a witness, towards a judge, or something like that, or to try to leave the courtroom, and somebody gets the sense that the judge is getting ready to put them in custody. I've seen that a couple times, and a person, is looking to sort of make an exit, so to speak, and that has happened a time or two in my 25 years, and each time no one was injured, and each time the person was apprehended and that sort of thing. But it absolutely can happen, and many more tragic things than that have happened in other counties across the country.
I remember an incident where a defendant was given jail time, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he leaped across the bar and was up on the bench and over on the judge, just in an instance. And no one expected that to happen, but there it was. And I think that goes to speak to what you talk about in terms of the emotion that prevails when someone all of a sudden finds out that you're going to jail for a very long time, and but you're not going by yourself, or you're going to make sure that you're going to get your licks in, I guess.
Yes, yeah, I've seen situations like that. I've also seen situations where, family members of a deceased in a homicide case become very agitated. I mean, this person has been taken from them, and in a lot of situations, that's the first time they've been in the same room with that person. They've heard the name, they've seen pictures, they knew what happened, but all of a sudden they're seated, almost a few feet away in some cases from that person, and it can be a very emotional situation. And you need proper security. You need the deputies there to be able to protect everyone, the parties in the case, the citizens, the jurors that are serving, just everyone that's in the courtroom.
Billy West is a district attorney here in Cumberland County, good friend also, and you've been doing a great job for some time. Who did you take over from?
Mr. Ed Grannis.
Ed Grannis.
Mr. Ed Grannis,
My
who,
gosh, yes.
mentor and friend. Mr. Grannis was the district attorney for 35 years. He worked in our office for 40 years, and just an absolutely great person, and left quite a legacy. There's still a lot of us working in our office that a lot of our leadership were first hired and worked for Mr. Grannis, and he retired at the end of 2010. Unfortunately, we lost him a couple of years later. He's been passed away for over a decade now, but just a great person and did a great job. I learned a lot from him.
I interviewed him on countless occasions on a number of big cases that he represented folks in. Last word here before we get a chance to go. We see these things all the time where, because of the internet, everyone is an attorney. Why'd you pull me over? They want to plead a case right there on the side of the road, and that is not the place to do it. Talk about that a little bit to make it so that everybody can go home safe.
Yeah. An officer, a lot of folks, when someone gets stopped, I mean, I've been stopped before. We've all been stopped before through the years. And when someone gets stopped, I mean, you're apprehensive, you're nervous. What have I done? Oh, I don't need this speeding ticket, or, I didn't need to get in a bump up this morning on the way to work, whatever. That officer also doesn't know what he's coming up on. He doesn't know. Now, generally, all of them are going to go smoothly, and it's going to be good communication between the parties and that sort of thing. But they may be stopping someone who is on the run from a very serious offense in another state, for example, and that can lead to tragic consequences. But if everyone will just follow the officer's instructions, if they feel like that there was something improper about the stop, the charge, or anything like that, there will be ample time to argue that in court, whether they do that themselves, whether they do that through an attorney, whatever the case may be. But there will be that opportunity to say, hey, I wasn't speeding, or it wasn't school zone hours, or this accident wasn't my fault. The other car was doing such and such. There's an opportunity to do that, but on the side of the road right there while the officer's having to do what they have to do is not the time for that.
Yeah, and then Judge King mentioned there was a 19-year-old who's wanted to plead guilty to speeding in a school zone, and she said, "Are you sure you want to do it? Do you have your own insurance?" No, I'm on my parents' insurance. Do they know you're here pleading guilty? And he said no, and I think I don't know if it was I forgot who it was, which attorney was saying, yeah, he needs an attorney, and they quickly called the parents and said, because you can't really represent yourself if you don't know the rules of the court.
No,
Yeah.
I always, when asked, would recommend that someone seek the advice of the attorney if they have any questions, because we as prosecutors, even though sometimes we may want to on issues like what may affect insurance, we can't give legal advice. The judge generally can't give legal advice, and so a person really does need to talk to an attorney who's has experience and been doing that sort of thing for a very long time, and they can just give them good advice. And they may have to pay the attorney, some fee for that, but generally you may save more in what you learn and what steps are taken than if you didn't get that advice.
All right, if you don't know Billy West, he's the district attorney here, but also one of the best golfers in the county. September 10th, your tournament's coming up. We're going to bring you back before then, talk about that.
Well, thanks so much. I enjoy having that as sort of a community event every year. It's a captain's choice event, so anybody can play. There's some of the better players in the county there, and there's some people that's the one time they play every year,
there you go.
They're all able to participate. And so I do enjoy doing that after hours. It's a good hobby that I do with family and friends, and I appreciate you saying that. I'm looking forward to having that event again this year.
All right. You're listening to News Talk 640 WFNC. Fayetteville's most dependable forecast right now with CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsey.
Today will be mostly sunny with a high of 92 degrees. Tonight will be mostly clear with a low of 71. Saturday will be partly cloudy with a high of 93, and Sunday will be mostly cloudy with a chance for rain and storms and a high of 89. Temperatures and humidity will start to increase through the weekend with rain arriving on Sunday, but the best chance right now for rain will be Monday. That is your Fayetteville forecast. I'm CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Right now, 68 degrees in Fayetteville, Hope Mills, and also Fort Bragg. You're listening to News Talk 640 WFNC.
Lanny went to college